Happy Earth Day, RASI, and welcome to another webinar today. We're going to be talking about our RASI Disposables program. I am really honored today to be joined not only internally from RASI team by Max Stryker and Catherine Reeves, who are our two-person mighty purchasing department. But I'm also really honored to be welcomed today by Jacob Handy, or Jake Handy, out in California with P&R Paper. Good morning, Jake. How are you today?
Good. How are you doing today?
I am great. And then also from Cali Comfort, we have the illustrious Shawn Walchef. So thanks for your time this morning. And we also have Eric Olafsen. Good morning, guys.
Thanks for having us.
You bet. Welcome to this morning's conversation. We're going to be focusing a lot on the purchasing program that our team, Max and Catherine, put together. It's primarily focused around the disposables in a contract and how that all came together. I would be remiss without at least starting with Max and Cat. Max and Cat, talk a little bit about what happened, where this came from, how quickly it came together, because what a value driver for our client base.
Yeah, it started with we've got some strong programs on the rebate side of our department with like Dart Disposables, but we were running into where the Broadline distributor, even though from the manufacturer we knew the items were in stock at their location. Their rep was telling our clients that no, these aren't available. However, they had a bunch of private labeled items that they could buy instead, which obviously the distributors try and drive business towards that because they've got up to 50% more sheltered income or margin in those items. So we had to pivot, and in order to service our clients better, we put together a distribution agreement that's fully auditable, and then it's backed by a dozen or so manufacturer deviated contracts. So the good part about that is you're not waiting on a rebate. The discount's given at the time of sale, and so far we've seen a fair amount of success with it.
I love it. And just that ability for the RASI team to be able to make a really strong adjustment in what we were doing to continue to drive value, I think is a true testament. So kudos to you guys for working so quick and getting that rolled out between May 1st and the end of last year. Really tight turnaround on that, but well done. I want to kind of shift gears a little bit and welcome our guests. First, Jake, thanks so much for joining us today from P&R Paper. I wanted to be able to talk through, from your perspective, what the changes in last year's industry, in the restaurant industry, really presented for your company. What were some of those challenges and things that you overcome? We are so inundated with the restaurant side of things. Let's hear it from one of the distributors.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, obviously at the beginning, everybody pretty much shut down, was forced to shut down, and trying to find ways to get their product out to the customer safely. It was, I mean, we're in to-go packaging anyways already, but some of my customers wanted to step up their game, so to speak. So they were like, hey, I don't want to use this container anymore. What's going to keep my fries crispy when the customer gets home in 20, 30 minutes? So those were just things we've already had in stock, but then we had to increase our inventory level significantly. So that was the tough part. But once we got up, and running, and also, not every customer was open during, the first 2 months of the pandemic. And then all of a sudden, everybody just opened their doors, and it kind of hit us pretty hard. But we were able to help all of our customers out. We even had items that we can sub for them to get them through until we got up our inventories.
That's really interesting to note that a new focus was kind of centered around the product quality, and that's kind of a good lead in, Shawn, to you, and kind of considering the branding importance. Did that change at all for Cali Comfort, the way that you branded with to-go packaging, or did that stay pretty similar in terms of what you were doing prior to the pandemic?
One of the things that, March 17th, we laid off 29 employees. It was the most difficult day of running our restaurant.
Yeah.
Obviously the shutdown, as a full service restaurant and sports bar, we pivoted to just doing takeout and delivery. So, we went from just having DoorDash as our third-party vendor to adding Uber Eats, adding Grubhub, getting in Otter, which is a technology that integrates those three, and then switching to Toast point of sale system. There were so many things that we had to do just to survive, to find out what is our to-go business going to be, because we already did significant to-go business for a full-service restaurant. I mean, I would say 30% of our revenue pre-COVID was catering and to-go. But what did we do once the hit was we realized our menu was big. So we had to really focus on what do we do best. And we reduced by 90%, got rid of breakfast Saturday and Sunday, which was a lot of items. Those are always harder items to do to go. Focused on our barbecue. That's what we do best. And, really optimizing our entire setup. Eric spent so much time literally turning our dining room into a mini factory of how do we, put bags in places, how do we put condiments in places, how do we come up with systems digitally to, help people with this new to-go process, and, working with RASI and, ultimately switching over to P&R was huge for us because, we meet with Sydney. Sydney's works for RASI. We do CFO level services every week. We meet with her. We go over our weekly financials to get a high level view. And what we found was we were paying significantly more for our disposable products than other RASI clients, not just in the nation, but in California and in San Diego. And even though we have a great relationship with US, we have to do what's best for us. And, that's why we're excited about this program.
That was kind of another follow-up question I had. I know this Disposables contract that we launched is really kind of focused on those regional paper warehouses, and P&R definitely representing the West Coast there. Were there any Broadliners, Shawn and Eric, that really came to the table and stepped up and became a true partner for you in the process of last year's pandemic?
No. The short answer is no. I mean, yeah, no one really, we couldn't get half the products we wanted. And at one point we must have had 20 something different to-go boxes here because everything US Foods just couldn't get half the things. And, we'd sub out with this, and all the cooks were asking me, well, what do I use this box for and this box and all that. So they kind of dropped the ball there, I think. And then, once we got going on this program, P&R has been great, and they had all the same products that we were using, and they don't run out of things like US Foods does, or haven't so far.
I think it's a multiple level process. It's understanding, what do you do? What are you doing to go? Let's find out what menu items we're actually selling to go. How are we going to package those? And then how are we going to brand those? And then ultimately, are those going to be sustainable? And then what's the cost? These are all the factors that are coming into a restaurant owner's decision. It's like, yes, I want to have a sexy to-go box for my ribs, but is that also going to work for brisket? Is that also going to work for pulled pork? Like, we need to have great partners that help us work through those issues. And that's why we're excited to, have ultimately this partnership.
It's a great testament to kind of tying the branding together, understanding what this is all about. And we are recording this on Earth Day because of just that reason, as you mentioned, Shawn, being able to have a story to tell and know that we are still focused on the environment. Jake, what kinds of things did you see in your particular company that may differentiate from a Broadliner in terms of what's going on? What level of expertise do you guys bring to the table? What kind of education are you providing to any of the clients that you partner with that may be a little bit different than what the broadline purveyors are?
Yeah, well, we offer more products. We stock over 8,000 items in our warehouse in Redlands. So we and our manufacturers, all of them work really well with us. It's easy to get samples. During this, when this first all started, customers would ask like, hey, like, I like this item and this item. And I had several manufacturers that I can reach out to and say, hey, can you please send these directly to the customer? We were sending them directly to their houses because sometimes they don't get them. They show up at the restaurant and they get thrown in the trash. So that's what differentiates us. We just have more options, and pricing too is there. So we buy truckloads. So we're able to help our customers out and, find them the best product that fits their needs.
That's awesome. I'd love that kind of expertise that you guys bring to the table and being able to find those. When it comes time to talking, again, we're doing this on Earth Day. Let's talk a little bit about the compostable stuff. Is that really starting to pick up in the terms of throughput that you're seeing through the warehouse on your side, Jake?
A little bit. It kind of, it was before the pandemic. And then once that happened, it kind of all got put on a back burner. It's also here in San Diego, there's no composting facility. So there actually is, I just found out there is one lady that started up here in San Marcos. It's called the Compost Group. And she is actually starting to bring in products from restaurants in North County and composting the product. So it's starting to come back again. People are asking about it. It's usually the price too it's a lot higher than what they're used to using. But if we want to make a change, that's what we're going to have to do. I even have one customer that upcharges for it. So.
Max and Kat, I want to come back to you real quick as we're kind of talking through the analysis on what you guys went through in the process of not only helping put this program together, but talk a little bit about what our clients were spending prior to the pandemic and what that number jumped to, because I think this was a pretty staggering statistic. I just don't remember it offhand. What kind of spending were our clients doing?
Yeah, for sure. If taking like the aggregate of all of our clients that we have data for pre-pandemic was roughly 750 or 800,000 a month in spend on disposable and paper items. And starting April of 20, May of 20, and on that number has been in the 1.6 to 1.8 million range.
Yeah.
So it definitely really shifted.
And that's every month, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. So the amount of value to not only be able to help reduce some of those costs wherever possible in creating this program, but really also bring the experts like Jake to the table that can help you find the right product for what your needs are. Shawn and Eric, kind of coming back to you as we're kicking things around here. Aside from gloves, because we all know what's going on with the nitrile and latex gloves, what, 175 to 200 bucks a case right now is somewhere in that range. Am I too far off? Am I close?
200 per thousand.
200. Say again.
About $200 per thousand count. Yeah.
Jeez, it's crazy. And I know that will come back down at some point in time, but it's one of those things that you have to have in the restaurant. Shawn and Eric, as you were kind of looking at vetting this program out, talk me through, again, aside from the glove side of things, talk me through how much price played a consideration in your overall decision-making process. Was that on the forefront? Did it kind of become on the back burner once you realized the quality and the different types of products that you were able to obtain? Where did that change for you guys, and how heavy was price influencing there?
I mean, the number one thing for me was making sure we had the same product, because it can be a huge pain when all of a sudden you bring all this new product in and, the bottom's falling out on it. People are calling you, and beans and ribs and, stuff's everywhere. So I know that, Sydney and Shawn were all about the pricing for sure. The number one thing for me was making sure we got the same product so we could actually put it into use. But a close second for me was the pricing. I mean, when Max went through and showed us the savings, I think it was 40%. On with the actual quote, and I think we're at about we're sitting about 30% now that we're using P&R. So I mean, it's a significant saving. It's definitely a lot of money.
Kind of along that same line of questioning, then, were eco-friendly products really important for your branding and for your message? Was that something that you weighed in pretty heavily as well?
We were, like Jake said, we were starting to kind of get into it a little bit before the pandemic. But I mean, no one seemed to care after the pandemic about the straws and turtles and stuff. So we've
all seen that video, Eric. Yeah, we've all seen it. Yeah.
We got bigger problems than the turtles.
So for us, foam is the cheapest and it works the best for barbecue. I mean, you can't beat foam when it comes to keeping stuff hot, and especially for our barbecue. So we've still been using foam, but we're starting to look into some more branding, especially with the paper bags. so like Jake said, we're starting to move towards that too. And we're working with P&R to help get some of that stuff moving along as well.
Yeah, I mean, just for us, is it the most important thing? No, but should it be? Yes. I mean, I have a 4-year-old son. He's going to turn 4 this summer. My daughter's going to turn 2. Like, my wife, she cares about every single thing that comes into our house, and we order takeout all the time from local independent restaurants. And the amount of waste that comes into our house, and she's trying to clean off the plastic, to recycle the plastic, and then make sure that it's actually it's like I have to put the thing through a dishwasher to get it to recycle. But like, it's important to her, and I know it's going to be important to my kids, knowing how much trash we go through. And I know it's important that us as leaders in the restaurant space, that we need to do it. It starts with us, so we have to figure out a solution with RASI and with P&R to go, yeah, we're going to prioritize this, and we need it to fit into our budget. We need it to fit into our branding, and we need it to be important, because if we have a voice, if all the RASI clients have a voice and they start telling people, then actual change can happen.
I really appreciate kind of laying out from everybody what's gone on in the last year, and not to necessarily rehash the downtimes, but just how adaptive everybody's had to become over the last year. And I think that's only going to set the framework and the trends for our restaurants looking forward. Kind of moving a little bit more forward thinking, Jake, coming back to you, as we're looking through kind of what's going on with stocking issues, with kind of product supply. Are those things kind of on the rebound a little bit more? And I guess we can kind of sprinkle in, if you guys do carry gloves, that part of the conversation too. Are things starting to kind of trend back up into good supplies right now?
I wish I had a good answer or a positive answer for you. It's not. It's actually going to probably get worse before it gets better. It's like, for example, we have a manufacturer that has product on their dock ready for us to pick up, but we can't even get a truck driver to go pick it up. Or we can't even find a freight company to go there and pick it up for 2-3 weeks. So we even had product put on a train from, I think it was Ohio or something like that, and it just now got here Tuesday. So we're finding ways. Our purchasing department is on it. They're working their tails off to get, whatever they can to us. I think we just brought in another foam container, and we had to sub that in, and luckily it worked out just right, because we were out of foam containers. So now we have thousands of them on our shelves. So I wish it was going to get better immediately, but I think we got another 2-3 months of getting back where it needs to go.
You've seen it in paper as well. Obviously there's, lumber, and a lot of it's the same raw material that comes from the same farms a lot. Are you seeing increases in paper or issues in continuity of supply in that?
Oh yeah, everything's, God, I want to say there was probably 10 price increases all year long, and from all manufacturers. And I think it's going to start slowing down a little bit, but there might be 1 or 2 in the next 2-3 months, and then it'll taper off. And then once things get back to normal, I think we'll see prices come back down again. Gloves are still, nitrile is still tough to get. It's softening up a little bit, but it's still, that one's going to be a while before we get back to where it was $40 a case, $50 a case. So I don't know when that's going to happen.
The encouraging thing on that, and maybe not so much on the supply side of things, but maybe the demand will start to wane a little bit as restaurants start opening up a little bit more. Shawn, what are your kind of projections? Over the last year, you've really increased the ability to get food out the door in a to-go in delivery type of format. How much of that do you think is going to drop off when restaurants start opening back up? Is it going to stay the same? Is it going to increase? Where do you kind of project that right now?
To be honest, we're obsessed with digital hospitality. That's the name of our podcast. It's something that is inherent. We wouldn't be open if it wasn't for our focus and commitment to the internet, to branding, to social media, to all the different ways that a restaurant owner can get their message out there. And, we can't discriminate how people get our barbecue. The old way of, you build a great barbecue business and, people find out who you are and they come from all over the county and they line up in line for hours upon hours and they're lucky if they get brisket or if you're sold out. Like, we need to be better than that. The problem with barbecue is it takes time and it takes expertise. So we figured that equation out. We need to figure, how do we make more barbecue here and get it out to more of San Diego County, which is what we're doing by building a smokehouse, by converting literally 60% of our dining, our on-premise dining, into a master smokehouse. I mean, we're getting close. Monday will be the first day that we open the restaurant back up, and the bar, it's specifically just the bar. I mean, we're sitting in the bar, the upper bar in our front patio, and that will be where our new business will take place. But we're not bringing servers back. We're bringing bartenders back. We're going to have a different position. People are going to order and pay. They're going to use Toast mobile pay from their phone to order from a QR code, to buy what they want when they want it, buy a beer when they want, check out when they want, and it's going to be a lot of learning curve for our customers, but it's not going anywhere, to your question. Like, people still, like, convenience is the most valuable thing that any of us have. Uber's not going anywhere. People aren't going to all of a sudden want to go back and be nostalgic about riding in a taxi or calling and getting a terrible experience waiting on hold, not knowing when your cab's going to come, when we have technology at our hands. So if someone can get 3 racks of ribs for, their office party, order it on their phone and get it delivered in 20 minutes, why are they going to come back and go through a hassle? Like, they're not.
It's a really interesting take, and especially on the barbecue side of things, and definitely something to kind of think about is maybe other restaurants out there are considering what this post-pandemic life will look like, in terms of how their business is structured. So that is really all we have for today in terms of content. Shawn and Eric, thank you guys so much for your time today, and Jake, thank you so much for your time, for joining us from what looks like a beautiful day on your patio there.
Yeah. Had to get outside of my office.
You bet.
Garage.
Max and Kat, always a pleasure to see you guys too, even if it's only digitally for right now. I'm hoping to be back in the office next week a bunch. So
the one thing I will tell
thank you guys.
Thanks,
any restaurant owner that's listening to this, don't be afraid to ask your partners for help. People at RASI, you guys have gone above and beyond for questions that we wouldn't think that you would have answers to, but you have the collective base of all these other incredible independent restaurant owners, and what you guys can do collectively to help us answer these questions can help another restaurant owner. So don't be afraid to ask for help.
I appreciate you saying that, Shawn, because a lot of the reason we set this stuff up and we make it completely transparent and auditable and everything, just so the idea is to give you guys more time. So you don't have to worry about this stuff, that we're worrying about it for you, and putting the right, programs and protection in place to ensure your success.